Okay, now we're going to talk about volume of cones. Here is the formula for that. It's both right here and it's also right there. Notice that notice in the one for the labeled picture that it's got a different formula, this 1/3 capital B times H. Remember that capital B is just the area of the base. Base of a cone is going to be a circle, so we're talking about the area of a circle there, which is what this part of the formula is. Pi r squared, area of a circle. Let's just keep that in mind as we proceed. Here's our first example. They've labeled H for me. They've got the height labeled as 6.8 centimeters, and the radius here is 3.3 centimeters. So what we should do is copy down our formula. Next thing that you should do is substitute the values that you know, which I've done in red here. All of those are substituted values for from the problem. 3.14, they didn't tell me what to use for pi, so I'll just use 3.14. And then calculate. If necessary, if we knew what the volume was and we needed to solve for r or h, we would do some solve steps first. But I'm at a calculate step, so I'm going to do that. And so here I've approximated my answer. Actually, I probably should go to the hundredths place. So 77.51 centimeters cubed. Notice that I included my units, and since it's volume, it's cubed. Let's take a look at another example. Again, we have one of these charts where there are missing pieces. I've got my volume missing here, I've got my radius missing there, I've got my height missing here. That makes the problem slightly different in each example. Let's start with the one where it's volume that I don't know. This is just like the pictured diagram that I had just a moment ago, and we will set up the formula using the 4.6 and the 5.8 for radius and height. Let's get a whole screen where I can do this. Here's the information from the problem, and it wanted me to find the volume. So again, I start with the formula. Next, I'm going to substitute values that I know. And since everything that is known is on the right side and the only unknown is on the left side, I can calculate. And I came out to 128.46 inches cubed. Let's put that in the table. Okay, so the next problem, I'm missing the radius. So let's set up the formula and start a whole new problem. Again, I'll start with the formula and then substitute the values that I know. Actually, this time I don't think I want to do that because V is known and so is H. It's R that I'm trying to solve for. So let's use that skill of rearranging the formula so that the unknown is on one side by itself. If I want to get R, which is okay, so it's R we want to isolate. So we're going to use inverse operations to get R alone. Those inverse operations are going to include, well, it's being multiplied by pi, so let's divide by pi. It's being multiplied by h, so let's divide by h as well. And 1/3 is really like division of 3, so we can multiply by the reciprocal of 1/3, which is multiply by 3. So the 3 is reduced, the pi is reduced, the h is reduced, but I've got to do all of that same stuff to the left side. So multiply the left side by 3 and also simultaneously divide it by pi and h. And that's going to be what r squared is equal to. So let's write this. R squared is equal to 3v over pi h. And then in order to isolate r, we need to square root both sides. And so r is going to be equal to the square root of all of this stuff. So now is where we do the substitution finally. This is going to be 3 times 380. Oops, that was a bad 3. 380.04. And that's all over I, which is 3.14. It's approximately 3.14 times 2.4. And the rest is calculator work. And I'm getting approximately 12.3. Well, in my calculator, I need to enter my units, centimeters, and I'm done. So R was 12 centimeters, and I've done that problem. So the third problem, I'm looking for H. I don't know what the height of the cylinder is, or the cone, excuse me. So let's take these numbers to a fresh page so I've got some room to work. Again, I start with my formula, And this time when I rearrange, I'm looking for h. So I'm going to do inverse operations to get h by itself. Again, that's going to include multiply by 3 to undo the 1/3. That's going to also include dividing by pi to undo the multiply by pi. But I also need to divide by r squared. So I can undo the r, multiply by r squared there. And I've got to do all of those same inverse operations to the left side. So multiply by 3, divide by pi, and divide by r squared. This time I don't need to square root because h is not being squared. So let's rewrite this. H is equal to, and I don't need to rewrite this because I don't need to put like a square root symbol on there. So I'm just going to start substituting. 3 times the volume, which is 762.74, all divided by pi, which is 3.14, times r squared, which is 9.1 squared. Calculator. And according to my calculator, I'm coming up with, well, approximately 8.8 meters. So I'll come back to our table, put my 8.8 meters in there, and I've got that answer too. Okay, here are the two problems that I would like for you to do and have ready for tomorrow's warm-up. Good luck, students.